Well, hello everyone. I want to read a quote from Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. If we could read the secret history of our enemies, we would find in each man's life sorrow and suffering enough to disarm all hostility. How do we get out of the mess that we're in this world and in this country? The polarization, the distrust, the name calling, destroying property, and the hostility. In a recent gospel on Sunday, it said that Jesus spent the night praying in the Mount of Olives, and then he went into town, and the religious leaders brought before him a woman who was caught in the very act of adultery. And they reminded him, well, Moses said that these women should get stoned to death. What do you say? And Jesus knew that this was a trap, because on the one hand, if he said, let her go, they would have said, oh, you're soft on crime. And if he said, stone her, they said, oh, you're so unforgiving and cruel. And you know the rest of the story. Jesus got down on the ground and started to write something on the ground. And he straightened up and said to the leaders, whoever is without sin can cast the first stone. So then he got down again and began to write a little bit more. And one by one, the people who the accusers started to walk away until Jesus was left only with the woman. And finally, Jesus stood up and said to her, isn't there anybody here to condemn you? And she said, no, sir, no one. He said, neither do I. Now go and sin no more. So the very most important part to me, I think, of that gospel was that the very beginning part. Jesus spent the night before praying at the Mount of Olives. And I believe that his prayer time gave him the gifts of clarity and compassion. Prayer time spent with God reminded Jesus that there is a way out of every bad situation. Richard Rohr, the Franciscan pastoral theologian, likes to quote a friend of his who said, if you do not transform your pain, you will transmit your pain. Untransformed pain can lead to bitterness and scapegoating. Transformed pain can lead to compassion. So I believe that the religious leaders probably had untransformed pain and guilt about their own sins, and they were projecting that onto the woman. And I think Jesus was pointing this out to the leaders. In a sense, he was saying, guys, please ask God to transform your pain and guilt instead of scapegoating this woman. He spent the night in prayer. How do we get out of this mess? He was reminded that God can find a way through every seemingly hopeless situation. The groundedness in God leads to compassion and clarity, rather than self-righteousness and a desire to punish. So how do we get out of this mess? By finding that God is our grounding, wants to heal our pain, so we can find compassion on those we think of as our enemies. Keep praying, everyone. Ask to be transformed, to join with Jesus Christ in making all things new. So as we're made new, we can become positive, clear, and compassionate change agents for our country and for the world. God bless you.